Getting Diamond or above for much of the Apex community is the true mark of being a good player. And today, we're going to go over 15 of the best tips that I wish I knew when I first started grinding for Diamond, Masters, and Apex Predator. If you apply these tips to your game, you'll be soaring to Diamond and Master lobbies in no time. Anyway guys, you know the drill. My name is Valued, and without further ado, let's get this going. Alright guys, so we're going to start off strong with my favorite tip for improvement, and that is to run no-fill solo pubs for practice. There is simply no better practice environment for you to improve your skills in solo queue than this right here. While I know you guys have heard me preach about the firing range all the time for warming up and practicing your aim, these games of no-fill are the best way to practice your game sense and fighting skills. Being in a solo situation without RP on the line lets you put all the emphasis on your own play, without worrying as much about dying. Getting in the mindset of, if I go down, the game is over, can seriously help your play when you go back into ranked. Playing matches that have their entire focus on staying alive and having no backup will transform the way you see the game. When the entire game depends on you winning a 1v3, you're going to learn a lot from this situation. And playing solo no-fill helps you see a lot of these scenarios in a short amount of time. If you learn to navigate the map as a solo and win fights against full 3-stack squads, you become unstoppable. From moving around the map in an efficient way by yourself, to catching a squad by surprise and taking them out solo, or even getting pushed and managing to still take the team out, these are the benchmarks you should be aiming for. But guys, I am going to remind you, you will fail when you start trying these matches. A lot. Odds are, you're going to die to the first squad you come across in a lot of your games. But if you keep at it, always analyzing your games and what you could do better to improve by just a bit, pretty soon you'll start to take out some full squads, and slowly but surely, you will start to feel comfortable. And when you do, suddenly, when you're hopping into ranked lobbies, you aren't dreading what teammates you get matched up with, or if your squad mates get taken out early in the game. Because now you have the experience and confidence to make the most of these bad situations. And that leads me right into my next tip, which is making the most out of bad situations. Rather than getting mad when your squad pushes without you and dies, you should be instantly making adjustments to your play in a way that's going to help keep you afloat. Here's an example. Are your squad's death boxes in a safe spot to grab their tags? If so, getting them back up is likely your best shot at surviving later into the game and taking down other squads. However, if they aren't in a safe spot, you do your squad no good just charging in there and dying, trying to get people up or get their tags. There are a ton of variables that will play into these type of decisions, but the general rule is to always make the choice that will extend the time your squad is still in the game. And if that means you gotta play rat for the next few minutes, so be it. While you shouldn't be selfish in your games or a bad teammate, it's not on you to jeopardize your game by making poor decisions. After all, the goal is RP, right? And if you stay alive longer because of the decisions you make, your squad mates are gonna get that extra RP as well. And speaking of extra RP, you'll get a whole lot of extra RP if you analyze the times where you lose RP to keep it from happening. The #1 way to do this is to VOD review your games with an objective in mind and figure out what mistakes you're making and how to fix them. This is one of the things that really transformed my game when I started to take it seriously, and I know it will do the same for yours. But if you're unsure of how to effectively VOD review, or you just like a guided review to help you get off to a good start analyzing your game, then make sure to head over to ProGuides.com. There, you'll find some of the top Apex Predator players ready to dive into your gameplay with you. And guys, take it from me, you would be amazed how much you can improve from one VOD review or coaching session. So be sure to try it out in the description below. Alright guys, it can be tempting to look for fights and try to get some kills, but this is a really bad way of ranking up. A lot of players plat and below get stuck there because they're constantly chasing after every shot they hear, looking for a fight. If you still do this, knock it off. Guys, I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. If you still do this, cut it out. The real points come from placement. Yeah, of course you want to get some kills to make the multiplier really stack up the RP, but tell me this. How many games have you played through without seeing an entire enemy squad? The answer is 0, because there will be at least one squad that either knocks you out or that you knock out. And if you manage to take out that one squad and win the game, you will climb the ranks consistently. That being said, you'll usually have at least a few fights in a game, even in the slowest games. So stop seeking them out early on and let them come to you. A little bit of patience goes a long way here. While you need to be very comfortable with the POI you're landing at, don't get stuck dropping to the same spot every game. You should have 2, if not 3 landing spots that you have pretty good knowledge of and you're comfortable looting quickly and fighting off spawn. It's important to have a couple of options so you can always have a good landing spot regardless of the dropship route. This being said, if one of your landing spots isn't working out for you, don't be afraid to mix it up. If you're having a bad day dropping a skyhook, then give one of your other options a go and come back to skyhook another day. Alright guys, a little bonus dropping tip before we move on, make sure that you dynamic drop as well. If you're headed towards your favorite POI, but you see there's 3 other squads with the same idea, don't be afraid to divert course and head to a different spot nearby. The theme here is, don't get stuck in your ways when it comes to your drops. Mix it up and make decisions in the air that will benefit your squad when they're on the ground. Alright guys, so once you are on the ground, it's great to be on a legend that you're comfortable on. But is that legend you're playing good in the meta? If not, and you're still finding a lot of success, then keep doing it, because all legends can be strong in the right hands. But if you're struggling in your games, maybe give some of the legends that are doing really well here in Season 10 a try. For solo queuing, legends like Horizon, Gibby, Bloodhound, and Bangalore are all great picks, all of them being strong in the meta and being able to take care of themselves a bit more than other legends. You're only as good as the tools you use, so make sure you set yourself up with the right tools. So to expand on that, you've also got to be making sure you're using the most powerful weapons that you come across as well. While we all have that weapon or two that we love, sometimes they're not just the best option for the job. Playing a wingman every game if you're not insanely accurate, or running a bow check because you think it's really cool, isn't going to help you win games. You need to be playing with weapons that are the strongest in the game, and that fit your legend and your personal playstyle. For example, if you're playing Gibby, try running a shoddy for those bubble fights and a strong primary like an R301 or a flatline. If you're playing Octane, shoddy and AR is also the best move. But if you're playing something like Horizon, you can probably get away with skipping the shotgun in favor of an SMG or maybe even a sniper. There are a ton of options in the game, so just be conscious that you're honestly picking up the best guns to help you get the win. This is seriously underestimated, and I want to make sure you guys understand it. And guys, I probably just read your mind, because I know there are still a ton of plat and below players that don't use certain weapons because they're either not comfortable on them, or they just don't know the recoil and they're not comfortable with aiming with those weapons. Both of these things can be solved with time in the firing range. Taking time to get in the range, learn the recoil pattern of the weapons, just objectively makes you feel more lethal. If there's a meta gun that you don't like that all the pros are using, get into the firing range and practice. I've coached so many people that say they don't like the flatline when it is literally the best gun in the game, in my opinion. These guns are strong for a reason, and it's your job to know why and how to use them. And if your shortcomings lie in your overall aim, well, this extra practice time will help you even more because you can learn the recoil patterns and practice your overall aim. So now that you're in the firing range, make sure you also practice your movement as well. It can be easy while playing all these hectic games in a row to get a little complacent with your mechanics. Using some of the time you spend in the firing range to practice some wall bounces or B-hops can help you make sure you're still able to perform these movements fluidly and will make them a lot easier to consistently hit when you're in your matches. Now, back to some in-game situation. You've got to make sure you're focusing on the most important aspect of your positioning on the map, and that is your rotations. Where you're rotating to and how you go about it are two of the biggest factors that play into you winning more games. Whether you're reading the ring like we discussed in our most recent rotation guide, or you're doing beacon to beacon movement across the map, you need to make this your priority if you want to gain RP. As we talked about earlier, don't chase shots, but rather chase power positions. A good high ground position that's within the ring can be more powerful than any weapon or item or legend in the game if you use it properly. Adding on to that, many players get stuck looking for that perfect weapon or item far too long and lose sight of what's important, their map positioning. Seriously guys, one of my biggest recommendations would be to stop wasting so much time searching for that next level of barrel stabilizer and start moving. You obviously need to get fast at looting and make sure you have a good loadout, but this shouldn't take you until the storm is closing in on you. And the bottom line is, you have diminishing returns on every second you spend looting. Once you have some strong guns with decent attachments, how much more power do you really need? Sure, it feels nice, and admittingly, it'll help you win fights. But is it worth putting yourself in a terrible zone spot for it? Spoiler alert, the answer is no. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, on to the big one. For all my low elo friends, we have grenades. All three of the nade options in Apex can be incredibly strong, and they can straight up win you games if you're good at using them. Always trying to keep 1 to 3 on you, depending on your bag size, can give you a great way to put a lot of pressure on any squad you run into. Seriously guys, if you take one tip away, don't sleep on nades. The best players use nades constantly, and that's not a coincidence. Alright guys, so the next one is to keep a good attitude. I know, this one might sound like a cop-out, but hear me out. The grind to get above platinum is honestly a long one, and there's a lot of players that will never make it because they just don't have the time to put in, or they just simply don't want to. But if you really want to join the elite players in Masters and Predator, then you've got to put the practice in and act like an elite player. Don't get down on yourself after some bad games or get tilted at your squad when they do some dumb stuff. Instead, always look at your own game and look for ways that you can help yourself get more RP in your matches. Keep in mind guys, Apex is a battle royale. Even the best players in the game lose games. The difference is you don't see them freaking out every time they lose a game. Rather, they internally learn from their death. Alrighty guys, I believe in you. Because you made it to this point in the video, you're serious about improving. And if you take the tips we discussed here and really apply them to your practice and your game, you will be breaking through those plat barriers in no time. And guys, if you watched this far, if you have any questions on the most important tips that I would recommend you, feel free to message me in the Discord in the description below. Anyway guys, my name's been Valued. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe for tons of content just like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.